Hello Peaches! So today I'm going to do another video about, religion, Satanism, Christianity, atheism kind of thing. I'm a Satanist, I'm a Levian Satanist, and we believe that there is no God and there's no Satan, there's no anything like that, no imaginary things. It's just more like a lifestyle. It's actually wrong to call it a religion, I think. I think it should just be called a lifestyle. But Satanists have a lot of the same beliefs and things as atheists do, because, as I said, Satanism isn't a religion. It's just a lifestyle, it's a way of living. But basically we don't believe that there is anything in heaven. We don't believe there's a creator of any sorts. So that goes very much hand in hand with atheism. So I thought it would be fun to answer these questions that Christians have for atheists. I read them through just quickly to get an idea of what they were, and all of these is like, yeah, they also work for Satanists, at least the kind I am. So I often see these kind of lists of like questions for atheists, and if you ask atheists these kind of questions, they won't be able to answer, and then you have proven your point that God is real and that atheism is stupid. I see a lot of these kind of lists, and it's so stupid because I've watched videos on YouTube of atheists answering them, and I just found this list and kind of read it through quickly, and we can answer all of them, alright? It's not that hard. You haven't found the magic cure for shutting up atheists, because no. We can easily answer your questions, just saying. And I also want to say there are, I think it's 31 questions. Yeah, it's 31, but because English is not my first language, there may be a few questions that I can't answer because I don't exactly know what they mean because of the way they described it and talked about it and everything. So I'm obviously going to try my best to try and answer all of these, but if there's something that I'm not quite sure what they mean or quite understand, then I obviously don't want to answer it, because then it'll just make it kind of confusing, I guess. Alright, let's just get into it. How would you define atheism is the first question. I would define it that it's a person who doesn't believe in anything. They only believe in things that they can see or feel, or that there's an evidence for. They don't believe things if there's not an evidence for it, or if they can't see it, basically. Then the second question is, do you act according to what you believe in or what you don't believe in? Yeah, I don't believe there is a God. I just don't believe any sort of God is there. And I live that way as well, obviously. This is a weird question. Then the third question is, do you think it's inconsistent for someone who lacks belief in God to work against God's existence by attempting to show that God doesn't exist? I'm not sure the word inconsistent. Do you think it's wrong that someone who lacks belief in God trying to show that God doesn't exist? No, definitely not. I think it's amazing that people try and prove that he does exist, and some people try and prove he doesn't exist. Because we need evidence. I think we need scientific proof that he does or does not exist. Atheism is not saying God is not real, there is no God. It's just saying, personally, I don't believe there's a God, but who knows, maybe there is. Because we do need scientific evidence. We do need evidence that he is real, but there's no evidence that he's there, and there's not really any evidence that he's not there. So that's the thing, we don't actually say he's not real for sure, I know that. It's more like, personally, it doesn't make sense to me. But if, it could be. Like, if I one day die and I go into heaven and see God standing there, I'm not going to be like, what? I had no idea. I'm just going to be like, oh, they were right after all. You know what I mean? So it's not like, so I think it's amazing that there are people out there who's trying their best to prove that he is real. But I also think it's amazing that there are people out there trying to prove that he's not real, because we need answers. We need to find out what's true or not, so everyone can shut up. I'm not sure why they ask an atheist this question, because obviously we do think it's awesome when people try to prove that he's not real, because then we will shut them up and keep moving on with our lives. Number 4 is, how sure are you that your atheism probably represents reality? I'm not sure. As I just said, we don't say that that's the only thing that is possible. We're just saying that's the thing that makes most sense to me with the evidence I have seen. So I'm not 100% sure that atheism is a real thing, or Satanism for that matter, because I'm a Satanist. But that's, again, it's not a religion, it's just a lifestyle. So it's a personal choice in a way, just like religion kind of is. But you know what I mean, it's different. So I'm not 100% sure that atheism is a real thing. I maybe like 80-90% sure, mostly 90 I think, that there is no God and everything, but I still have those 10% that's open to it. Just like even with like unicorns and fairies, I'm like 99% sure that they don't exist, and like Bigfoot and everything. But who knows? Maybe they do. Like, we don't have evidence that they do, and we don't have evidence that they don't. So I can't say like it's not real. Because there is technically a slight chance that they could be real, and the same with God. So I'll guess like 90% sure that atheism is the way to go. Number 5 is, how sure are you that your atheism is correct? Isn't that kind of the same question? I just answered it. Just don't repeat yourself, guys. Please don't. Number 6 is, how would you define what truth is? What? Like, for example, with evolution, that's the truth because we have evidence for it, and that's just what happened. It's the truth that I ate breakfast 30 minutes ago because that's what happened. That's why I don't believe God is the truth, because we don't have any evidence for that he happened or he is there. So I would define truth as something that you can see or you have evidence for. It's just something, it happened, you know what I mean? Number 7 is, why do you believe your atheism is a justifiable position to hold? And this is one that confused me a little bit. I think they just mean like, why do you believe that it's okay for you to be atheist? Because, as I said, it's these questions just make me repeat myself. There's no evidence that he's not real. And people, if you want to believe something that you can't see or can't see evidence for, that's fine. But that's just not how it is for atheists. We don't want to believe anything we can't see or can't see the evidence for. So that's why I think it's a justifiable position to hold, is because people are different. Some people need evidence, some people don't, and atheists need evidence. So yeah, I think that's why I think it's a justifiable position to hold, as you weirdly put it. Number 8 is kind of weird, and I don't see how it has anything to do with atheism. Are you a materialist or a physicalist or what? Sorry, that word was kind of weird for me to read. Are you a materialist or a physicalist or what? I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm very materialistic, actually. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding this question, I'm not sure. But what I hear is them asking like, do you like pretty things? Are you materialistic? And I am, definitely. But I'm not 100% materialistic. I also appreciate feelings and all that kind of things. I don't know why you're asking me this question, or if I'm just misunderstanding. Let's just move on. Number 9 also confuses me. Do you affirm or deny that atheism is a worldview? And does this mean like, do you believe that atheism is something that the entire world believes? Not the entire world, but I do think that there's people all around the world who believes it. And that is something that is true all around the world. I don't think that there is a God in one country and the rest of the world is about atheism. Personally, I think that atheism is just in general, all over. I think that's what you mean by this question. And then there's a question I don't really understand. And then number 11, if you were at one time a believer in the Christian God, what caused you to deny his existence? Several things. I made videos about it, so where I explain it, so I'll just give you the quick short version. Science. I learned about science. First of all, when I was still a Christian, when I still believed he existed, I read parts of the Bible and it made me realize he was a shithole, he was an asshole. He was a shithead, horrible person, so I chose to not follow him, even though I still believed he was there. And then I just learned about science. Later on, I started learning about science, about evolution, about everything I've been taught wasn't true, and I saw that this was like, it makes so much sense. So yeah, that's what drove me away from him, I guess. Number 12 is, do you believe the world will be better off without religion? Definitely. 100% definitely. Most of the wars we have or have had, or a lot of them at least, have been because of religion. If there was no religion at all, then there was a lot of people who wouldn't have died. Especially also with like homosexuality and stuff, there wouldn't be as much hate against them as there is. There would be so many young people, homosexual, transgender, bisexual, whatever, who would still be alive today and who would feel comfortable, and the world would just be a different place. It wouldn't be so much hate, so much like I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. So yeah, definitely, it would be 100% better without any religion. I definitely think that. Number 13, do you believe the world would be better off without Christianity? And yes, I do believe that. The fewer religions there are, the better. But especially Christianity, because it is so big, and it is one of those where it's like hating homosexuals, being against abortion, not believing in evolution, those kind of things. The evolution part doesn't hurt people, but being against abortion, and being against homosexuals is like, it actually hurts people. It kills people. It literally kills people. So yes, I think the world would be better off without Christianity, because it literally kills people. Christianity kills people. That's how it is. Number 14 is, do you believe that faith in a god or gods is a mental disorder? No, definitely not. I used to believe in a god. I used to be Christian. I don't believe it's a mental disorder. It's something that we have been taught through society and through our families. We've been a Christian for many years in this world. So I definitely don't believe it's a mental disorder. Definitely don't. It's just, I don't know, gullible in a way. Not to be mean. I know a lot of Christians and they're nice and everything, so it's not like that. But it's definitely not a mental disorder. It's just what you believe. It's a religion. I'm not hating Christians. Like, every Christian think that atheists just hate Christians and think they're stupid. And I do think that some Christians are stupid, but it's not like all Christians are stupid for believing in God. It's more the kind of ones who are against homosexuality and all those kind of things who I think are stupid, and abortions and all that. So no, definitely not a mental disorder. Number 15 is, must God be known through the scientific method? I think so, yes. There's a lot of people who benefit from believing in him even though they don't have scientific proof, and that's fine, but I definitely think, I'm an atheist, I said 100 times already, I need evidence, or I'm a Satanist, but you know, it's the same thing in this kind of scenario. I need evidence before I can believe something. So yeah, I definitely think that God should be known through the scientific method. Then number 16 is, if you answered yes to the previous question, then how do you avoid a category mistake by requiring material evidence for an immaterial God? And that's the thing, I don't know. I don't know how we could get evidence for God. That's also why I'm pointing most to the part of not believing he's here, because I don't see a way where we can get evidence, because I don't believe he's real, because he's immaterial, it says here. He's not a thing, like, that you can see and feel and everything. And that's the thing, a lot of Christians think it's not okay to say, I don't know. That's why every time they get asked a question they don't know the answer to, they're just like, oh, it's God, because God said so. Atheists, we know it's okay to say, I don't know. I don't know if God is actually real. I don't know how we can prove that he's real or not. Because I literally don't know. You're right. How can we prove that something that is invisible or isn't there technically is real, if he is real? I don't know. And you know what? It's okay to say you don't know. We don't have all the answers yet. So yeah, I don't know how we would do that. And that's also why I'm going most to think that he's not real, because there's no way we can prove it. Not with the technology and everything we have at the moment. Maybe one day. Who knows? Maybe in the future we can prove it. I don't know. Number 17 is, do we have any purpose as human beings? I don't think there's like one big purpose like Christians do. I do think that maybe, and again, I don't know. Maybe there is a bigger purpose that we just don't know. Maybe our purpose is just to do what we want to make ourselves happy. That's what I believe. That's how I live my life. I don't think that the entire world has the same purpose. I don't know if there even is a purpose. I do what I want to make myself happy, and that's my life purpose. And some people have it differently, and that's totally fine. If we do have a purpose, can you as an atheist please explain how that purpose is determined? Yeah, as I said, I don't think we have that. Number 19, oh, I hate this question so much. Where does morality come from? Again, I don't know exactly where it comes from. But I believe that there's something in us human beings that just stops us from hurting other people, killing other people, raping other people. I know there are people in the world who does that, and that's wrong. But there's also something wrong with those people. They are mentally ill, the people who does those. They're insane. So I think a normal, healthy human being, we are just wired to not hurt our own species, like many animals are. There are so many animals who doesn't hurt their own kind, because why would they? You know, so that's such a stupid question. Where does morality come from? It comes from within. It's just how we are as human beings. Back when we weren't Christians, when we were still Vikings, here in Denmark at least, it was still not okay to murder your neighbor. It was still not, alright, the Vikings raped a lot of people, but that's different. They were also like savages. But you know what I mean? Before Christianity came to the world, there were still most of these things. It just wasn't okay to do these kind of things. It wasn't okay to hurt someone. You weren't allowed to steal. You weren't allowed to kill and stuff like that. And that has come from somewhere. It's because that's just how we are as human beings. It's not Christianity that has made us this way. We were like this before Christianity, because that's how we is. And I hate this question because it makes me scared of Christians who ask this question, because they're like, if you don't believe in God, how do you know what you're allowed to do? How do you have any morals? Like, bitch, does that mean that if you're not a Christian tomorrow, you will murder everyone and rape everyone? That's scary. If the only thing keeping you from doing these kind of things is because God says so, then I'm very, very scared of what's going to happen if you one day find out that you're not a Christian anyway. It's so fucking scary. So yeah, that's the stupidest question Christians can ever ask. Please stop asking. You're not being smart. You're not making a point by saying it. You're just making yourself sound more insane, and you're making me more scared of you, because that's scary. That the only reason you're not killing everyone is because God tells you not to do it. That's fucking scary. Then there comes a few like questions that I don't really understand that much. And then number 22 is, do you believe there's such a thing as evil? If so, what is it? I believe that there are evil things you can do. Evil kind of people. I don't believe there's evil things such as demons and stuff like that. But I believe that people can do evil things. Let me say it that way. There are evil actions, there's evil things you can do. But I don't believe that there is evil entities per se. Number 23 is, if you believe that the God in the Old Testament is morally bad, by what standard do you judge that he's bad? So I read quite a lot of things from the Bible. I'm not sure what is from the Old Testament and the new one, but in general, he kills off the entire world just because he gets slightly tired of them, besides Noah and his family, of course. That's bad. That's morally bad, because killing people is not a solution to anything. The whole book of Job, I think it's called, I'm still not sure what it's called, but the whole Job thing where he's like, he's killing his family, he's burning down his house, he's killing all his animals, and he makes him sick and everything just to prove a point, just because he wants to see if he still believes him even after all this shit. That's morally bad. That's fucking insane. He should not do that. That's not okay. So yeah, that's why I think he's insane, basically. Number 24 is, what would it take for you to believe in God? And I've said that, evidence. Evidence, evidence, evidence. Scientific evidence, or he showing up right in front of me. Which is not helpful because I'm schizophrenic, so I do hallucinate sometimes, so I wouldn't really be sure if I was hallucinating or actually God. So yeah, scientific evidence. That's the only way I could be convinced. Number 25, what would constitute sufficient evidence for God's existence? Haven't you already asked this? Like, how do you prove God's existence? I don't know. That's the thing, I don't know yet. We can't prove it now. If he is actually real, there's no way we can prove it nowadays with the technology and scientific methods we have now. So I don't know how to prove he's real. I don't know what it takes before it's scientific proof, because it's something that we probably never will be able to prove. And if we one day are, it's many years in the future. So I don't know. It's okay to say that you don't know. You don't need to know everything. And there's not an answer for everything, just saying. Number 26 is, must this evidence be rationally based, archaeological, don't know that word, testable in a lab, etc., or what? I hate when they write, oh what? It's like, oh what kind of attitude they have there. Yeah, I think so. It has to be scientifically proven, be scientific evidence. So it has to be some sort of testable in a lab and rationally based and everything like that. Number 27 is, do you think that a society that is run by Christians or atheists would be safer? Why? Atheists, I already talked about this, Christianity killed people and is very harmful. So yeah, atheists. I already answered this question, kind of. Number 28, do you believe in free will? Yeah, to some extent. I believe that people have free will. I just believe that some people choose not to follow that, like Christians. So yeah, I do believe we have free will. I just don't believe everyone chooses to follow it or use it or whatever you say. Then there are a few questions I don't really understand. And then there's the last two questions. Number 30, if you affirm evolution and that the universe will continue to expand forever, then do you think it is probable that given enough time, brains will evolve to the point of exceeding mere physical limitations and become free of the physical and temporal and thereby become deity and not be restricted by space and time? If not, why not? How does one lead to the other? I guess technically it could happen. That's again the thing. I don't know. I don't know how humans will evolution and how people will evolution. Personally, I don't think there's a big chance that that will happen. That sounds kind of weird, but again, it is possible. I don't see why not. So yeah, I guess technically it could happen, but personally, I don't know. I'm maybe like 20% believing that that could happen. Maybe even just like 10% believing that could happen. Because I really don't think so, but who knows? You never know what's happening in the future. And then the last question, if you answered the previous question in the affirmative, then aren't you saying that it is probable that some sort of God exists? No. Because you asked me if, like, light years in the future, that could happen. So yeah, light years in the future, technically, it could happen that some sort of God can exist. But now, yeah, I don't see how me answering yes to the previous question proves that I say that there is a God. Because you just said, in the future, will this be able to happen? And then you say, then there is a God. It's like, no, you're saying that in the future there might be able to be a God. And then it wouldn't be a God if every human evolved that way. I don't really think that's an evidence. It's just, it doesn't make sense that you're trying to prove your point this way, because you're just saying that because in the future, in like a billion years, there's a small chance that this can happen, that human minds become their own thing. It's just, well, first of all, as I said, then everyone would do it, and then there would be a God, because it's just how humans are then. And second of all, it's in the future, it's like billion years away, so why should there be one person who has already done it now and is a God now? I just don't, I don't know how to explain it, because I literally don't see how you got that from the other question. It doesn't prove a point, honey. It doesn't do anything for your case. No, I don't believe it proves that there is a God, that I'm saying that there's a slight chance that could happen in the future, even though I really don't think it will happen. Does not prove that there is a God. Definitely. It has nothing to do with each other. So that was actually all the questions. I thought it was pretty fun, even though a lot of the questions are the same. A lot of the questions is like the same, but just said in a different way. And yeah, it's so fun to see these, because questions like, if you ask an atheist these questions, they will not know how to answer it, and you will have won the argument and just proven that God is real. And it's like, no. You can clearly see that I had answers for all these questions. And the few ones I didn't answer, as I said, it's not because I didn't have an answer for them, it's just because I didn't really understand them, because English is not my first language. So there were a few words and phrases I didn't really get, and I didn't want to half-ass answer something. I hope you thought this video was interesting and fun. Please let me know if you have other ideas for videos about religion and Satanism and atheism and all that kind of stuff that you want me to make, because I would love to get some more ideas, because I love making these kind of videos. Press the like button if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well, and thank you for watching.